pile of weeds or thoughtful, complex permaculture guild? Hard to know. I would hope it's the latter. Sasha's in there eating polka raspberries right now, mixed with bee balm flower petals. And this whole space evolved around the origin keystone species, which is this one apple, which I planted here about 5 or 6 years ago on its own, which is what you normally do with apples. You just plant them and put a ring of mulch and call it good. But between the rabbits, the mice, the voles, it just kept getting whacked and cut down to the ground, stump sprout, then whacked again, and so 5, 6 years ago, well, 4 years ago, I thought, well, I can either put a cage around this or start helping it out. And so I planted bee balm, which really helped with the rabbits and the mice digging around in there. And so that let it start growing, and then put raspberries in, because they're somewhat spiky. And that seemed to keep the deer away enough that now the apple's tall enough where we don't have to worry about it. And while we're waiting for the apple to make fruit, we've been eating raspberries and harvesting bee balm. And while we're at it, we might as well give this an opportunity to be more things in the future. Either all the things live and stay, or some die and some work. And so to the northeast of the apple, a hybrid chestnut was put in. Really nice surprise that with all the bee balm and all the raspberries in here, the deer haven't found it at all. And that nice wiggling tree that Sasha just bumped into is a Chestnut White Oak, which is to the north and west of the apple. And that's also being protected by the raspberries and the bee balm, and is now taller, just about as tall as me. It's off to the races to be a canopy tree in here. Why not? We even snuck in a Siberian peach and some thornless blackberries, some Turkish rocket, some chives, and some garlic. And so now this really complex cluster of trees and shrubs and runners and ground covers are all working together. They all seem to be growing really well together, and in 10 years we may have to cut one or two, and whoever's the next generation on this property will certainly have to do some thinning. Boo-hoo, they'll have to dig up and move raspberries and either harvest chestnut, white oak, or apple wood for the fireplace or to carve. Some of the problems that you can design for future generations. Anyway, that's just a random guild. And there's Sasha and Henry. And we just harvested a bunch of grapes from the garden. Nice, cool, late summer day to enjoy looking at all these things.